Hi, everybody. This is Kerristen, and thank you so much for tuning in to another great episode of the Relocate Podcast. This podcast is available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. So, wherever you're listening, if you're not subscribed, if you're not following, I encourage you to support me in this amazing platform that I have to highlight different people's lifestyles and the many ways in which people have embraced relocating, how they've embraced different ways in which you can live your life that is not particularly confined to being in one place the whole time. So, I am, speaking of that, very excited to introduce to you all an amazing guest, Amber Clark. She is one half of the Veteran Nomads. I have all of her information in the description of this episode, so definitely check the description so that you can connect with Amber and you can connect with her platform, the Veteran Nomads. Amber is one half of a husband and wife duo. They are proud veterans, they are full time RVers, they are exploring the US 1 mile at a time, 1 mile at a time. Her platform or their platform, they share real life RV experiences along with helpful tips and some entertaining content that just provides everything that you need to know about having an RV lifestyle. So I want you all to know that I don't want this platform to just be specifically about being confined to one place. This platform embraces all aspects of relocating and just being in a space where home feels the most welcoming to you. So, Amber, I'm so glad to have you here. I know
I'm
you
like,
thank you for your service and you got a lot of accolades, but yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
yes, I would. I also have a small sisterhood group that we're growing. It's called Rolling with My Sisters. And it's basically a group created by, actually inspired by one of the ladies a part of the group, and the Wells family travels, and they're also linked on my platforms as well. And basically, we just get around and we just talk and support women, specifically Black women in the RV industry, because it's becoming more of a popular way of living. And there's three different lifestyles of RVers in that group. We have the solo female RVer, us as the empty nesters, and then we have a young family. So everyone can kind of see how everyone does it. So it's a great way to show there's more than one way to live this American dream.
Yes, I love that. And I'm a solo girly myself. I'm not afraid of solo travel, but I know people who are. So
Hmm.
if you're listening and you feel that way, definitely tap in with Amber's platforms because she's definitely, from what I'm seeing, doing a lot to show people who may not feel confident in doing something like this. She helps people to build that confidence up to be able to do it. So be able to live the RV lifestyle, or whatever, nomadic lifestyle that you prefer. Hopefully, in this case, it's a RV lifestyle because
Yes.
that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
Yes, and actually, before we dig a little bit deeper into your present life, Amber, I want to get a little bit more of a understanding of your background and just your upbringing, like I do with all my other guests, just so we can get a better glimpse of like what kind of led you to this moment. Can you tell us about like how, where you grew up and kind of like what home looked like for you in your early days?
Okay, I was a military brat. Both my parents served in the military, hence why I kind of went in the military. I moved around a lot, being a military brat, of course. I grew up in New Jersey, grew up in Kansas City, Missouri when I was really little.
Oh, wow.
Then my informative years and young adult life, I was in New Jersey. Then I went in the military, uh, got married young, had kids, and kind of never really felt too settled in any specific place. Like I I get in places and I'm like, okay, after being somewhere for a couple of years, I'm like, I'm ready to go. I've never really put like roots down outside of my, teenage years when I, living at home, going to school and everything like that. But as an adult, I've always wanted a job in traveling. Like my dream job since I was 6 years old was a flight attendant. That was like my dream job. I was like, I want to be a flight attendant. And like back in the 80s, when you flew on planes, you got to actually do stuff with the flight attendants. And I got like my first little pair of flight attendant wings, and I was just so impressed. From the age of 6, I was like, I want to be a flight attendant. That was been my dream job. Well, it's not as easy as you think to become a flight attendant. So fast forward after my military years, once I settled in a couple places, I lived in Georgia, Texas, South Carolina, Maryland for for a few spurts at a time. And when I got married in 2020, settled in Florida. And I was a truck driver from 2017 until 2023, I want to say. And that's what interested me in travel and like going over the road. That's where the passion started. So I've always had this spirit of travel.
Glad you mentioned that you were a truck driver because I had it in the back of my mind that when I was in college, if I didn't find a job that I could really enjoy, I was going to definitely consider being a truck driver myself for the travel perks and
Yes,
being able to really see the US like up close and personal, and the terrain, and being able to just experience the nature and everything that the US has to offer.
right.
I would have done that the same thing. I don't
Yes.
like
It's an introductory to like just seeing the country and living
Yeah.
small. And I did it for almost 7 years.
Wow.
I only reason why I really left it was only because it just wasn't worth the sedentary lifestyle. It's just basically you're driving and sleeping. You don't have a set sleep schedule, and it just was affecting me in a space that I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. But I still love the travel aspect of it. That's even what sold my husband even to doing this lifestyle, because we have a house in Florida that we use as a rental property. It's like he was like, why do I want to go live in something so small when I have a whole house? Uh, One of our good friends always said you can only use one room at a time. So our kids were out of the house, so it's like, mm, you're right. We have this whole big house and you're in one room. I'm over the road. So he came on the truck with me, stayed on the truck with me for like after he retired from the Air Force in 21, stayed on the truck with me for a really long time. And we realized, hey, we can make this work. And if anybody's ever been in the sleep condo of a semi tractor trailer, I had the bunk style. So it's very small. There's no bathroom, there's no actual kitchen. It's very small. You literally have the driver's seat, passenger seat. You have maybe about 2 feet of width behind there until you get to the beds. And they always say it's about the size of a bathroom. It's about the size of a like a
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty small. And so we made it work, and we enjoyed it. And my husband did 20 years in the Air Force, while I only did 4. He's been all over the world, but really hasn't had a chance to see this country. So that's kind of why our tagline is exploring our country that we proudly served, because it's like we served our country, but we haven't
Mm.
even seen like 1% of it. Like, it's like, or I'm not gonna say we haven't seen 1%, we haven't seen 10% of it. Going out west, being a truck driver really opened my eyes to how beautiful our country actually is. It's not just the common areas that you think of, that when you think of going going out to touristy areas, you think people always think of Atlanta, Miami, LA, New York, Chicago, stuff like that. But you got all these national parks and just open land and small cities, small towns that have all these hidden gems. It was like, let's do this. And so we bought our first RV in 2022, and we went full time in 2023, so we haven't looked back since.
Is there a state that kind of caught your eye so far? Like that just stood out more than what the other states that you've experienced?
If you had asked me this question about 5, 6 months ago, I probably would have said Florida, but
Mm.
I now have changed that. Well, actually, you know what? I take that back. I would probably have said Utah. I've seen a little bit of Utah. But I would definitely say now, I think my favorite right now is Northern Michigan. That's where we're at right now. And this area out here is, I'm like, we went to our first national park ever, like literally about 3 weeks ago. And we were like, oh my gosh, like, this is a national park? Like, this is gorgeous. Like, if this is just a national park here in Michigan, I can't wait to go to some other national parks. So, I never would have considered going to national parks. Like, that's just never been like, "Ooh, I want to go to this national park," outside of the ones you hear about. Like, you hear about Yellowstone or stuff like that, Tetons and stuff like that. But I'm not like a nature girl. I'm not like, "Ooh, I'm going to go on a 20-mile hike today." I'm not one of those people, so I don't really look for those off the beaten path places or anything like that. I try to avoid the touristy places, but I do like to find those hidden gems in different areas that, yeah, they might be popular, but majority of people have never been. They've seen them maybe on social media or whatnot. And so right now, Michigan, it has really been amazing for us. Like, we've loved every minute of us being up here. So it's Michigan right now.
Okay, gonna mark that on my list of places to visit. I mean, I've been to
Yes.
Michigan, but just Detroit. That's it.
Yes. Yes, we're about 4.5, 5 hours north. Like, we're like right below the UP. So we're as far northern Michigan you can get before you get to the Upper Peninsula.
Okay. Okay. So it seemed like y'all were very excited about getting things going with your new RV. I
Mhm.
think you said back in 2022. Is that correct?
Mhm. Mhm.
When you
Yes.
purchased it? Okay, got it. Did y'all have an opportunity to just reflect on things that you may have left behind, kind of like the difficult parts and the things that were maybe hard to give up? And if so, how do you weigh those losses against the need for change?
Well, for me, it wasn't so hard to really let go, which is it's usually opposite. It's usually the woman that has a hard time of letting go of things, and men are like, I don't need that. It was harder for my husband, but we did take our time before we weren't full time when we first bought our RV. We kind of gradually went into it, and about 7 months later is when we actually full time moved into our RV. And I would say we took about a year. I would say right when we bought our RVs, when we knew like we were planning to go full time, we just hadn't really like set down a date. We just said we're going to go full time. So I was like, okay, we need to start downsizing now. I started going, at least for me, I started going through my stuff really early. Like, what do I need? And as a truck driver, it was a lot easier than I expected because I can only keep so much on the truck anyway. So all the stuff that was on my truck was like the important stuff, not talking about like stuff that's close to my heart, like pictures and stuff that I grew up with, but like stuff that I needed on the daily basis, like clothes, my electronics or, things like that. So once we decided to go full time and we set a firm date, that's when we really started downsizing. And we realized that we had to have multiple yard sales, multiple donation, and it got to the point where it's just like, look, we can only make so many trips to donation. We're just going to either, if it doesn't sell, we can't give it away. It's just going to go in the trash. I got to that point because, after you can only downsize so much and get rid of so much before you realize I still have all of this. And it wasn't a lot. So it was more so my husband who's like, I don't want to know what to do with this. So we ended up compromising by getting a storage unit. I was like, we're getting the smallest storage unit. So whatever doesn't fit in there, it's not going to go. So we downsized I want to say 1,800 square foot house into I want to say maybe a 200 square foot storage unit, maybe smaller,
Wow.
maybe smaller. It's not that much. It literally can hold let's just say it can hold maybe a bedroom, one bedroom apartment. But we got rid of all of our big furniture. Except for one bed, like one mattress and a headboard. Because I was like, if anything else fails, if we have to come back off the road and we have to either go back in our house or we just move somewhere else and rent or whatever, we need at least a bed. We want at least to have a bed and we can get everything else later. So that's what we did. I would say downsizing is probably the most stressful part of getting ready for RV life, because you never know what you need. And half the time when you bring stuff, you realize you have too much. And I will definitely say, for anybody out here considering the full-time RV life, take your time. Don't feel compelled to hold on to everything. We have a rule now, is if we don't use it within 6 months and then we're getting ready to go to a new location, we either sell it, get rid of it, or save it to put it in storage. And for the past year and a half, we have dumped so much stuff back into our storage that we have accumulated on the RV. And you don't need as much as you think in life, because for us now it's more so about making the memories and just enjoying our time just together. So we don't need a whole bunch of stuff. And you have to realize it's not about so much collecting things and holding on to things. You want to hold on to pictures and videos and stuff like that. But like the physical attachments to things, items and stuff
Yeah.
is it's not the same. Of course you have the important stuff with you, but having things that are unnecessary, that don't really make a difference in life, we just keep it in storage. And once I realized I'm not wearing a certain shirt anymore, either if I know I'm not gonna wear it anymore, or I don't like it, it immediately goes to donation. Or if it's just not a good outfit or something, it will go in the trash. It's like sometimes things get ripped, things get messed up and stuff, of course. But I will say separating yourself from your prized possessions is the hardest. And that's the first test to, if you're moving into an RV with a significant other or a family member, it will test your communication skills, because as you're downsizing, you're having to communicate, what do you want to keep, what do you want to get rid of, what do you want to put in storage, what do you need, and all that type of stuff. And that's the first test right there. If you can get through the downsizing the progress and the process of that without killing each other, I say that you could do RV life for sure.
I know that's right. I'm glad you mentioned that too. Oh my goodness. Stuff I didn't even consider
Yes.
beforehand. And yeah. Okay. How does one go about choosing an RV that works best for you?
we have a That's a good thing you're asking, really good questions, because we actually have a story for that. And take your time in finding the right RV. Our first RV, I take 100% responsibility for that one, was not the right RV. I was going into it the mindset thinking, oh, we'll get this RV that could sleep, I think our RV could sleep 10 people, because we have 4 kids between the two of us. I'm like, that's 6 people in the RV. 10 people's, that way gives us space. No, the RV that we chose was not for RV living. It was for RV camping. Where you're camping for a few weeks at a time, not for living. It was hard for 2 people to live in there comfortably. So having that, knowing what space do you need, it's another thing you have to figure out. Don't just jump into it because, oh, it looks nice. Or you could get, sometimes I've heard of people getting too big of an RV. And our first RV wasn't small, but it also wasn't big. It had no slide outs. An RV talk, that's basically an extra room that opens out when you get set up. It opens out to give you some extra footage, living space. It had none of that. The only door outside of the entry door was the bathroom door. So we had a curtain for our living room, and it kind of got hard because sometimes me and my husband worked opposing schedules. So if one of us needed to sleep, the other person really couldn't because the curtain was right there. And then on top of that, trying to watch TV in 2 rooms with the curtain as a divider became, very difficult. That's why I have these headphones today. My friend, I was telling her about it, and she was like, "I'm getting you some headphones so you guys could, that won't become an issue." So wearing headphones to watch TV to me got to the point where it's like, okay, it's kind of frustrating. And then on top of that, we didn't know going in exactly what our needs were in an RV. We just went from, oh, if we can live in a truck and a semi, we could live in an RV. We have a bathroom now. We could shower. We have a sink. We have a kitchen. Yes, it had all the necessities, but it didn't have the adequate living space for us. Now, some people would probably make that RV work. I have seen people make less space work. If that works for you, great. It just didn't work for us. And don't waste a whole bunch of money in the wrong RV. I would say that you don't have to go new. You can go used. You can, but I will say, speaking from experience, get an inspection. Like, that's the first thing when you're wanting to get an RV. Get an inspection, because we've worked in an RV repair shop. We've seen what water damage can do. That is like cancer to an RV. Once you get water damage, it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack to find out where the leak is coming from, because you think you found the leak. No, that leak is actually stemming from the water coming in from another spot that it just found. It's because the saying in the RV repair shop is water is going to find its way in anyway at any point in time, and you have to figure out a way to keep it out. So that, that's, it's a learning curve. I would say RV life in general is a learning curve. So if you're in the process of trying to find the right RV, rent one first. There's so many ways that you can rent. Back when we started, I would say renting, I'm not gonna say it wasn't an option. It just for us wasn't feasible in the moment. But looking back, I wish we would have. We would have known what we can tolerate, what we can't tolerate, how much
Yeah.
space, and how to use the different. You have 3 systems in the RV you have to learn. There's just so much you have to learn. It's not like moving from an apartment to a house, or a house to an apartment. It's it's a lot, and you won't know what you need until you go to RV shows, till you walk a few floor plans, until you actually just walk in one. You know what I mean? We actually have friends that we went to an RV show with. Now he had seen them online. Yeah, he's seen them online. He's like, yeah, I think I could live in one. But he was just looking. He was looking at specific ones. And then we went to an RV show in Texas, and he was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know all these were options. I was like, yeah, all these are different options. Like you don't have to be confined to just one. You have different types of floor plans, different types of, like, there's literally, he's like, this is like a 3-bedroom house in this RV. Didn't know that was a possibility. I'm like, yeah, it is. You really got to look. Um, that's basically that's the best advice I could say, is just take your time and find out what you need. Do you really need that fifth wheel, or do you okay with the bumper pull? Do you want fiberglass siding, or you want aluminum siding? Do you want one slide out, no slide out, 3 slide outs, 2 slide outs? I mean, it's definitely a lot of, they're not, RVs are not cookie cutters. They're not like you can go into a neighborhood and see almost like the same house every like 3 houses. When you go to RV parks, you see so many different types of RVs. Like it's crazy. You could have like our floor plan. I mean, our brand RV for this floor plan, um, it was a new floor plan. Like it's a 2024 upgraded one, and now they have changed it. Now the 2026 looks completely different. Same floor plan, but they've changed things. So you would never know. It could look one way from the outside, but you go inside and you're like, oh my gosh, this RV, I did not think it looked like that.
What would you say has been the most unexpected mental or emotional challenge of the constant movement and not having a fixed address, or a fixed community, like fixed physical community, that is?
I would say honestly, because this is another aspect where I feel like maybe a lot of people either never experience, or if they do experience, they don't think about it, is medical care. My husband has to be seen by the VA, and luckily they have a traveling program for travelers, but just trying to get some of his appointments and medications, like, because where we're at right now, it's not isolating where we're like hours away from civilization, but it's very small town vibes, and their post office only can take, they have very limited hours. The VA can only send certain things, and so that can be challenging. So medical and just staying on top of appointments, even with our little dog Riri, like even getting her appointments out here for even grooming, as simple as grooming, getting her. We had to, like, normally we used to have PetSmart using Banfield, but the nearest like PetSmart is an hour and a half away for her appointments. So it's like in case of like we needed to get her vaccinations. Well, they didn't have any appointments for some time, and I'm like, we don't have time to just drive out an hour and a half to get her appointment. So we went through Tractor Supply, where they have like the monthly, you show up you sign up for their monthly, like, uh, I guess you want to say vaccinations appointment, and you just sign up, you pay a fee, and you go. You know what I mean? And so we had to do that. That was never something we considered. So you have to be very flexible when it comes to doing things. Dental, same thing. You have to be flexible, and you have to plan, your health care. Of course, you can't Like I did have an emergency surgery back in 2024 where I had to go to the emergency room. So, those you can't control. But I did need to be under care and getting my prescriptions. I got them in one place and then we moved. And luckily, I was able to get my prescriptions transferred to that state without any issues. But trying to like be seen for appointments as a female, especially, can be kind of challenging especially when you're trying to do your personal, routine appointments, because your typical doctor would want to see you. A random doctor really won't want to see you if they don't have a relationship with you. So I would say the medical aspect for sure is something that people really need to take the time. And I know people try to do their appointments annually and they set them up, so that's great. With my husband, he needs monthly. He's on like four or five different for 4 or 5 different prescriptions for his eyes, so he has to constantly get his medications refilled. He has to go to appointments every so often. And so when we were in Texas, it was great. Texas, the city, we were outside of Dallas, so great, we could get into the VA or they would refer us immediately to outside, doctors. But here, like, he had to get referred to a specialist, and their first available appointment, mind you, this was back in May, was November. Yeah,
My
and
goodness.
we won't be here in November. So you have to be flexible to say, hey, I'm not going to be here in that time frame. What can I do? And they're like, okay, when you get settled in your next place, let us know. We'll try to get you in or whatnot. That can be a little bit of a headache. And if you can't deal with flexibility and change real quick, that definitely is going to be an eye opener for you.
Like how are you and your husband creating a sense of stability and routine when you're living this nomadic lifestyle, and there's, moments where you have to be like flexible and open to change?
It's really hard to get into a routine, like you know, get up every day and try to have coffee or whatever, because that's the simple routine that I try to set up. Does it work? No. Who's getting up at 6 o'clock to have coffee? But I always, I was gonna, when I started RV life, I wanted just a simple thing of having coffee outside, with the sunrise. No, it doesn't work. But it's hard when, like, we work camp, so each place we go to is a work camping job, so our schedules are different every place we go. Our first one, we worked 2 days a week and we only had to work 4.5 hours a day. The rest of the 5 days a week we had to ourselves. Our second work camping gig, every other weekend we worked, and then Mondays was like our scheduled day to work all day. And then we had the rest of the week to ourselves. Here we're working 5 days a week, and we work opposing schedules. So like I work in a store where I have like a different schedules, like it varies from week to week, where he has a set schedule. And you know it's hard to really get into a routine. We just know our days off are. And so you can definitely, there are people that do have routines. I've never done well with the routine. I can't. I feel like I just can't do the same thing over and over again. I have to force myself to do that sometimes, and that can even be challenging, because I feel like if I'm forced to do something, or I'm forcing myself to do something, I might not want to do it in that moment. But my husband, he's really big on sticking to a routine, and for him, it's not as hard. You just have to find what works best for you. I know before, like, we have a washer and dryer in our RV now, and that was by happenstance, and that was not planned. Before, we had to like say, okay, on this day we're doing laundry, and it's like, dang, I have to hold myself to doing laundry every day at this time, because if you don't have the freedom of just doing laundry when you want, like when you're in a house or an apartment, you have to get to the laundromat. Hopefully you have time and space to do your laundry. There's been times we show up to a laundromat and all of them are, all of them are being taken. So you have to wait, you know what I mean? You wanted to get in and get out and you're having to wait for things. And, and you got to make sure you have, some laundromats are coin operated only, you got to make sure you have the coins and, bring enough laundry detergent and everything else that you need, that type of stuff. And so just that simple routine became kind of rigorous, because you're really playing laundry Russian roulette with your time, because you're like, is this going to take 2 hours or is this going to take half a day? Even trying to set that going grocery shopping, sometimes it can be kind of a hassle. Our first place, like, Even now, like the closest Walmart is, most people are like, oh, 20-25 minutes isn't that bad. It's bad when it's 20-25 minutes and is rural roads. It's not like a, major city where 20-25 minutes you're mostly sitting in traffic. But no, this is just a rural road. So 20 minutes to get to Walmart to me, it's like, oh, I don't feel like going to the store. So, trying to make sure your routine is when you go to the store, you're going run errands, try to hit the store. We try to make it in our routine when we leave the RV, especially here. We try to hit the store, hit the post office, hit whatever we need to hit before we come back home. Get gas, it was if we're going to do laundry, we're going to go out, get the dog food, we're going to go get her grooming appointment. Like everything is done in like one trip. Cause I'm not that kind of person. I don't like to get in my car every single day if I don't have to. And that's the
Right.
convenience of RV life, is like we work where we live, so we don't drive and commute to work every day. So if I don't have to drive, I'm good with not going anywhere. So it's like coming up with a routine that works best for you. It really hasn't really been a struggle per se. It's just really figuring out, do you feel like doing it or do you not feel like doing it? Because today we were supposed to go to do some like go to a park. We woke up, it was raining. So that routine on Tuesdays is like our date days. Like we try to have at least one day a week where we go either do something for free, something low cost, or just something that we've been wanting to do in the area. And some Tuesdays it just doesn't work out. By the mid afternoon when the rain stopped, we were like, do you really feel like going anywhere? No, I don't feel like going. Okay, we'll just do it tomorrow. So we're just gonna, like I said, it's another thing about being flexible.
When you're traveling and like, how do you exactly decide, like, what's the process of like deciding, okay, where are we going next? And then like how long do you typically stay in a certain location? Or does it vary? How does that work?
It varies. Being as though we were in Texas for last summer and we realized how hot that is, we realize now we see why people chase like the 80-degree weather. So since we work camp, we really just try to find work camping positions that we feel like will best suit us for our needs. Like when we first started work camping, we took a non-paying work camping job because in case it did not work out, we could easily say we can leave and we would be okay not having that money coming in. You know what I mean? So our next now we say, you know what, going forward, we want to make sure we get paid something. It doesn't have to be an exorbitant amount of money, but we want to get paid for something, not just a free spot. So I would say like with our work camping gigs, like our first one, we stayed at the longest. We were there for like 9 months. And that was just because of location. It was more convenient, and my husband was dealing with eye issues and stuff, so he had to see a doctor. We moved to Texas when he was under the care of the VA, and we found a really cool gig there. And we ended up staying in Texas longer because another reason why you have to be flexible. Another doctor wanted him to stay around just to make sure that the treatments that he was on was going to be working because we were going to be traveling. So we're in places anywhere from 3 to 6 months. And like right now we're here until October. We will be here for 6 months. And we just kind of find places that we're interested in. Um, Kind of places that we haven't really been to. Like, he's already looking like, oh, what, because we know we have plans to go become RV techs, like go to school, start our own business in January. So we can take our business over the road and kind of, get out there like that so we don't have to be in places long, because my goal is to stay in places no more than 45 days to 2 months at the max. And because I feel like we really want to see a lot more places, and if we're working for ourselves, we can schedule our own schedule, not have to be on someone else's schedule. And I would say the hardest part with knowing where you want to go is kind of figuring out what do you want to see, like what's in the areas that attract you to that area. Like here we knew it was a tourist area, so we're like, let's go. We've heard about it, saw it on YouTube videos, but let's go, let's go see what it's about. Texas was more so because I had lived in Dallas before, so it's like, hey, we lived out there, we had friends already out there, let's go be close to friends. And the first one place we went to was because we were about an hour and a half away from where our house was. And we had just just rented it out. So we wanted to be close by in case, like, we needed to go do anything, and it helped because he was already close to the doctors he was being seen at. So it just made more sense to do it that way. And so we don't have a precedence of, only thing is we will not be anywhere cold for the winter. We always in warm weather for sure, because being cold in an RV, unless you have like a RV that is made to be in the cold, you're going to struggle. You're going to have your issues. I mean, you're going to struggle with things from time to time, but you don't want to add that problem of being in the cold. So we have a rule of trying to stay in weather that maybe get in the 30s or 40s, 50s. So the southern region in the winter, and then now that gets so hot, we try to come up north for the summer. Kind of, chase. You got to chase the weather that you're looking for. There's some people that love being in hot weather in the summer.
Right.
Hey, more power to you. It's no.
I might be a little crazy. I love the heat. I, I
Well,
love it.
more more power to you.
I love the heat. People be complaining, oh, 100 degrees. I be outside sunbathing. It's a beautiful thing.
Well,
I love heat.
there you go. Well, hey, to see that's what say everybody's different. You just gotta
Yeah.
find what works for you.
Um, well, I'm learning a lot today. And I did have a family on here who they were also a RV family, but I feel like I'm still learning a lot. Like just when I thought
Yes.
I did my research, I'm like, dang, like you, Amber, you done taught me something new today. Okay.
We learn something every day ourselves. You never stop learning for sure,
Yeah.
especially in the RV life. You always learn something.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that with your journey, you've been able to reconnect with people from your past, friends. Like that's amazing because
Hmm.
now I always wonder like when people relocate or they have a lifestyle where you're constantly moving, like how do you stay in touch with people that you feel connected to in this whole process? So I'm glad that you made plans and you're probably making more plans to connect with some people. That's really cool.
We try to make it to where if we can get to a place where we could be near people that we know. Like right now, we're not near anyone we know, but we're within hours. Like my husband's family came up for a few days, so that's nice when family can come visit. When we were in our first work camping location, some friends came to visit, and even when we were in Texas, I had friends come visit. Not just the people that lived in the area, just like people came to visit. So you know that part of RV life is cool because it's like you can actually say, "Hey, I'm going to come visit, and guess what? I'm bringing my house with me, and I'll be
That's
there
so
for
cool,
this amount of
actually.
time." Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
weird too because like we'll be traveling down the road, and I'm like, "Hey, babe, I forgot this." He's like, "You do realize the RV is literally behind us, you know. It's back there." I'm like, "You're right."
Yeah.
It's weird knowing that you have everything. You say, "For dang, I forgot to pack this." And you're like, "Oh, we stop. We could just get it out the RV. Like it's back there."
I love, you know what? That leads me to my next question of what are some aspects of this life that you enjoy the most?
Seeing new places is nothing like travel days are frustrating. Coming up here from Texas, we did experience our first tire situation. We had two blowouts on the same side, two different tires. So definitely first thing before I get into it, have a emergency fund saved up for that. That definitely you want to make sure you have that. But just the traveling portion is exciting. Stopping in different places, waking up. It reminds me of my trucking days. But also, I will say getting set up in a new location and exploring a new location and kind of just seeing where you are, like your back. They always say your backyard could change. Your backyard is ever changing, and we love that. We love that. In a couple months we're going to be somewhere else, and um, we have everything that we need with us, and we don't have to sleep in somebody else's bed. We don't have to, eat out every single night. We don't have to, deal with those type of things. So I would say for me, it's the travel aspect and kind of just waking up in a different location. Now I can't wait till more mobile because we're semi stationary because we stay in places for so long. We're semi stationary, and then when we get somewhere else, we travel for like maybe a week, and then we're somewhere else for some months before we travel again. So we're not like constantly mobile and constantly on the move. But I would say, so for me, I know a lot of people like, I hate travel days. I hate getting set up. I like to just be, those are for the people that are probably burnt out from traveling so much. And I would say that's 9 times out of 10, I talk to RVer, especially full-time RVers, that say they have travel burnout. And it's because they're going places every like week or every couple of weeks, and it does get exhausting because it's a lot to pack up and set up, pack up and set up, pack up and set up, pack up and set up. It's a lot of that. And so, I mean, I understand. So if I had to, I would never, I wouldn't, I don't ever want to do that. Just be somewhere for like a week or 2 weeks, unless I'm going on a cruise. That's the only travel I'll take, that kind of quick travel. But when it comes to being in the RV and all that stuff, and just knowing you're going to be in a new location, exploring a new campground, seeing what's there, or park, or we stayed in our first county park on our way up here, and we were only there for 2 days, and I was like, I don't know how people do this. Like, we were there for 2 days. It's like you can't even get comfortable. Like, by the time you take everything out, you're having to put it right back. So yeah, it's definitely the travel though, just waking up in different places.
Okay. Okay. I can imagine that the Amber from like way back when, the Amber that wanted to be a flight attendant or pilot, I know you mentioned that at one point, is smiling on the inside, like just thinking about like all the adventures that you've experienced, like traveling and
Mhm.
seeing different parts of the US. Like it's always great to hear people like living the moments that they envisioned when they were
Mhm.
younger. So um, I'm very happy to see that you're doing that and you're inspiring others to do the same thing. And just looking back at your journey from your childhood to even military service, and then now like life on the road, like how do you even make sense of this progression?
I guess just always being the free spirit. I went against the grain, not on purpose, but it's just like I've never felt like I fit in the mold, the standard American dream. I honestly never I've always said since I was a kid, I don't ever want to own a house. I don't want those problems. I just don't. I knew myself. I was probably 10 or 11 realizing I don't want a house. I've always dreamed. RV life was never something I said, "Oh, I want to grow up one day being live in an RV." That just kind of grew into its own like thing. But I've always envisioned myself like living like in a condo, like on a high-rise condo on a beach. That's, you know, if I did own anything, it would be a condo. I don't want to have to mow my lawn. I don't want to have to deal with the HOA, which is the things I'm dealing with. We have to deal with our house. I don't want to have to deal with those things. Putting my trash out, taking my trash back in. Like, those things I guess I didn't want to adult. And I knew that as a kid, I did not want to adult, I guess you want to call it. And now that, I mean, I always joke with my husband all the time. I'm like, babe, I feel like we're in our 20s, in our 40s, because we did have our kids in our 20s. And so now that they're all adults, we have 4 kids between the two of us, and not from each other. We have no kids together, but previous marriages. But all of them are, like, my youngest is 19, his oldest is 22. We have 2 more sandwiched in between. And I would say that all of our life we always said the American dream is to own property, and but I've been watching, and it's starting now. I have a way to kind of use as a reference because I never really not say understood, but I never really had a way to explain it. But you work X amount of hours per week, per day, to pay for this magical home that you can barely spend time in. And then when you're ready to take vacation, you're taking vacation away from that home that you're paying all this money for. So I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, I could, why do that when I could just take, if I want to go on vacation, I'm just going to take my home with me. And yeah, I'm still having to work, but guess what? I'm not slaving for, that American dream. Like, we're able to find something that works for us without, spending an arm and a leg. Like our last okay, so in between our work camping gig and like our last work camping gig and this one, like I said, we had to stay in Texas. So we couldn't find any more in the area for work camping. So of course I knew that we needed to get jobs and have to pay for a site. Well, I mean, still a site plus electric was like $715 a month plus electric, which I think the most we paid for electric was like $130 or something like that. You can't find an apartment with none of that to this day with your rates being that low. So even with an RV payment, it still was less than $1,300, and that's with everything. You know what I mean? So I'm like, you're still saving money. It just depends. Like, there's some people say, oh, RV life isn't cheaper. RV life is what you make of it. You have the people that are expend exorbitant amount because that's how they like to live, and you have the ones that really barely spend anything because that's how they like to live. We're like in the middle, and I would say for sure that trying to categorize like where I am in life right now is I'm living my American dream with my husband, and the American dream is not, it's not in this box anymore of what you think it is. And I think that's where there's a stigma when it comes to people living in their RVs, because it's like, oh, either there's two sides of the spectrum. Either it's you're retired, you're in your 70s and 80s, and you're just ready to explore the country, and or I should say you are struggling and it's the only means of you having to live. And now it's like, yeah, there's that, why that might be still true in a lot of cases, that's not true for majority of cases. And some people are just doing this because they're realizing, why am I going to spend $300,000 for a house for 30 plus years when I can get a $80,000 RV in 12 years and be paid off, and I can travel with it. It provides me everything that I need to sustain off of. I mean, people are like, "Oh, you got maintenance. Don't you have maintenance on your car? Don't you have maintenance in a house? If you have an apartment, maintenance issues happen. Yeah, you might not have to pay for them, but you're paying for them with your time, because sometimes you have to be at home for these maintenance repairs to happen, because you got to be in your apartment when these maintenance repairs happen. Every caveat of life, you're going to have issues no matter what you do, no matter how you live. You're going to have, if you have a house, we've had to replace our water heater, we've had to replace our air conditioner, our stove, our refrigerator. I mean, there's things that are going to happen regardless. You know what I mean? It's just depending on where you try to put your time and energy. So like I said, that's when I said when I was a young girl, I never wanted to have a house. And I never thought about RV life. I never did. Not until trucking. Trucking opened my eyes. And I realized that I wish more people that look like me will understand that they could do this too. There's so many people that I still talk to this day and realize that they can do it as well. Like, there, it's just, how do I do this? Like, I didn't even know there was an option. Why didn't you know it was an option? Why? Like, why not? Like, why? Like, I just want to know why, because I hate the stigma of, or I hate the saying of, black people don't do this. What? Since when?
Oh, I
Since
hate
when,
when
sis?
people
Like,
say that, like as if
yes, I'm like, since
we
when?
are monolith. Okay, cool.
Yeah, right. I'm like, what? What? Like, what? They don't do. We don't do what? Like, and it's weird because I'm the first in my family to own an RV. I have people in my family who are like, oh my god, this is cool, and like even my like people my kids' age are like, I'd rather do an RV because I'm not going to get in a whole bunch of debt. I don't want to be in a whole bunch of debt. Like, I rather, that's why a lot of people get into it. They want to still live in it, maybe live on their land until they can build their dream house, but they're able to save money because they're not spending 1,200, $1,300 a month for mortgage. You know what I mean? You're paying $400, $500 for a place. Your RV is your place. $400, $500. Some cases it might be a little more. Some cases it might be a little less. But the average, between let's just say 400 to 600. That's still great for rent. Even if you want to count that as a rent category, that's great. You know what I mean? So, and it's something that you're paying for. Yes, depreciating value, but guess what? You're paying for something that you're going to own. You know what I mean? Or you could pay cash. And I've known people that paid $3,000, $4,000 for a used RV. Yeah, it needs some TLC, but you're making it your own and it's yours. So yeah, that's definitely something me as a kid would never imagine this. And I feel like, dang, I wish I would have thought about this like 10, 15 years ago.
Look, I when you mentioned HOA, that's probably the one reason why I wouldn't own a house in the area where I live, because I haven't found a lot of places in the actual city where you can own and not have a HOA. And I refuse to have someone who is not paying my mortgage tell me what I should be doing with my property. And I never grew up like that. We have land and stuff, and I didn't know what a HOA was until I left South Carolina and moved to Texas. I mean, and to this day, like my mom, like, she's just like, I wouldn't recommend doing the HOA neither. Like, if you can find a place or an opportunity where you can just own and not have that lingering over your head, like, I wouldn't be, opposed to that. HOAs just kind of stemmed from like racism. If you think
Mhm.
like you want to dig that history up, y'all do that on your own. HOAs and racism go hand in hand. Just do the research. Yeah, I would never. So this is a great
Yeah.
route to consider for people who
Yes.
may be new to this concept. Definitely listen to what Amber is saying and take this into consideration. I mean,
Mhm.
there's more than one way to live the lifestyle that you want to have. You don't
Mhm.
have to have that cookie cutter house where if you walk outside, you can touch your neighbors. Like that's
Yes.
just, it's too close. That's too much
Exactly.
for me.
Exactly.
Like you can hear your neighbors. Like you can like y'all
Yeah.
sharing the same fence. I'm like, no, no.
And it's crazy
Mm-mm.
because while, in a neighborhood, you don't, I feel like I'm outside more, even just doing the RV life. I'm outside more, and I don't know why, because I had a whole backyard and I didn't spend hardly any time in my backyard. And I don't understand why, but it's like, it's true. I sit outside, I have a hammock. It's a portable hammock. I can take it anywhere I want to. It has its own stand, so I don't need trees or anything to set it up. We have a fire almost every night, and we just sit outside so much more. It's weird because we actually put a fire pit in the backyard of our house. We got one customly built for the backyard of our house. My husband said he used it a lot, but I hardly used it. And I'm like, why didn't I use this at the house? Like, why? It's a whole weird phenomenon. We're just walking. We just go on walks a lot more. And it's the same thing. It's no different than, let's go for a walk around the neighborhood. Hey, let's go walk for a walk around the campground. You know why? It's because the scenery changes. Not just where we're at, but it's because the RVs change. So we're seeing different neighbors like all the time, seeing people's setups. It's like a thing for us. Like, oh, that's a nice setup. Oh, I like that RV. It's like, it's cool. It's like everybody you walk by, like, everybody's so friendly for the most part. Everybody's like, hey, come on over, we got some extra food, or how you doing, like, it's very welcoming, very friendly. And we can leave stuff outside, not to say we do, but we notice we can leave stuff outside and know the next morning it's going to be there. Can't really do that in a neighborhood, which is, I don't understand why. Especially if you're living in a neighborhood, you've been there for some years, you would think you would know people that are coming in and out of there. But people don't really mess with your stuff when you're camping. I mean, yeah, you hear the stories everywhere of that happening, but 9 times out of 10, your stuff is going to be secure and safe. And it's like, I appreciate that. It's like, we could honestly sleep with our door unlocked, and we don't, but we could. So it brings back that sense of security,
Yeah.
where it's like you kind of feel comfortable. And so the HOA thing, yeah, I'm glad. I'd rather pay campground fee any day for somebody else's property, because they're maintaining their property. That's why, they're maintaining it and everything. All we're doing is borrowing their space. That's how I call it. Just, we're borrowing the space, and it's not something we're responsible for. And so, yeah, and I didn't know that that's where HOA's fees stemmed from. So I now have to do my research on that.
Yeah, I would now that I know, because I learned about that recently. That's
Wow,
something I can't participate in. I won't do that.
I hear that.
Yeah. So we are almost done with this episode. I appreciate you, and I have two more questions,
Okay.
because from the outside looking in, this seems like a lifestyle that you're pretty comfortable with. You're very happy with the RV lifestyle, and like your platform, it shows us the ups and the downs, and just like a day in the life of like how you and your husband are living this version of your American dream, pretty much. How do you? I'm sure there's like negative Nancy's out there, or just people who just kind of
Hmm.
are skeptics to the RV lifestyle that may comment or they may DM you or what have you. How do you respond to the skeptics? Like, how do you respond to that type of feedback? Because I'm sure
I
there's
don't.
people who are just like, I want to, but like, my brother said that I shouldn't be doing this, or like, how do you? I know you
I'm a
said you don't, but like, how do you
well. When
help
I
these
say I
people
don't, I
who?
I just show them.
Okay.
To me, actions speak louder, more like speak louder than words. So I just I mean when I say I respond, I like I don't respond like I don't feed into the neg. I don't really get too much negative, but when I do, I kind of just I kind of I have that sarcasm like, oh darn, that really darn, that's a shame. That type of thing when people try to come at me negative, but at the same time too, I also show them, yeah, just like, like I said, you're going to have ups and downs no matter what form of way you live. I had a friend of mine lived in an apartment. Their whole apartment got flooded by their neighbor. So, I mean, you know what I mean? You're at that point, you're living off of what somebody else could potentially damage your stuff. I know people that have had house fires recently. I know, I mean, it doesn't matter what form or way that you live. It's how you handle those situations. Certain things have happened. I try to show the good, the bad, the ugly on our platform. We are not an aesthetic, and a lot of people like that aesthetic RV life. Not gonna say that's not real. It's it's not realistic, is what I'm not just people live like that. I'm not gonna say that they don't, but it's not realistic for us. It's just not possible for us. It's very time consuming to be like that anyway, but I don't try to seek perfection. I have shown the RV in disarray. I show when the RV is just not perfect, because it's still life. Our life is still our life. We're not doing anything different except for we're living smaller, and that's intentionally. We're intentionally living smaller because we realize we don't need a whole lot to live. We still can eat, sleep, and go to the bathroom and shower and clean ourselves in this RV. We've had guests in our RV. We have movie nights in our RV. We do everything else, everything that you could do in a home or an apartment in our RV. So if anybody has any negative energy for me, I just look at them and be like, oh, in my mind, I'm like, well, what is in your life that's causing you to, react negatively towards mine? Because I'm over here living my life. I'm not talking about how you're living yours. You know, I never understood. I'm not a negative person about anything when it comes to how people live because I've been in a lot of people's shoes before, and I know what it's like to live outside of the box, and I don't ever want to be judged for me living outside of the box, or technically in a box, if you want to call it. Just it's a small, can be small, but I've seen people that we've started off in a smaller RV, and I've seen people even in smaller RVs that are making it work. It's what makes it work for you, and as long as you're happy, I love it. You know what I mean? If you're happy, I'm happy. I love it and all that stuff. I have a close like network of close friends that I really call my sisters. Like I said, rolling with my sisters that understand the lifestyle, and we talk about that. Like one girl comes from her family has nothing but RVs, and so they're very supportive, whereas the other girls like her family don't understand it. And so it's like, you know, everybody comes from different walks of life, and people now the younger generations, younger than me, are realizing they can do this lifestyle now. You know what I mean? There's a lot more resources. There's a lot more help out there. And I just feel like when it comes to negative posts and negative people that really want to just kind of get under my skin, like I said, when I say I don't respond with it. I don't. I just It doesn't bother me. I know, like my husband says, if you're putting yourself out there on social media, you're welcoming negative energy. So I just redirect it by, okay, here's my next video. This is what happened. Hey, we had just a few weeks ago, we had our grill catch on fire and we had to, fire extinguish it out. Now people are like, why would you put that up there? Because it's part of RV life. That's something that actually happened, and hey, it happened right here on the campground. Somebody else could have posted it on their platform, but I posted it first. So it's just one of those things that you just got to prepare for.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And also, these are my words and my thoughts, not Amber's words and Amber's thoughts. If you are in this RV lifestyle or you're considering it and you got people in your ear telling you or suggesting you not to do this, or they feel some type of way about the way that you're living your life, look them people in the eye and ask them, are they paying your bills?
Thank you. Thank you.
Like,
Thank you.
just really annoys me sometimes when, like, certain people are just like, I don't think you should be doing. I think you should give me some money.
Exactly.
So maybe I can take your opinion into consideration because this is
Exactly.
my
Exactly.
bills.
I'm like, the only person that I need to worry about if half of the issue is my significant other, and if he's happy, then I'm happy because we're in this together. If it comes to a point where me and him aren't getting along because of this, then that's what needs to be addressed. But outside of that, because yes, he does help pay the bills, so definitely, that opinion does matter. But anybody else can kick rocks. That's what one of my good friends always says. You can go kick rocks.
Yeah.
So that's yeah, I love that.
Yeah, give me some money. This I can take your opinion into consideration. I can always use some money.
Exactly.
I see what that saying meant, a penny for your thoughts. So we don't
Ex-
I don't need just pennies. I need hundreds.
there you go.
$100 bills. Give me some Benjamins.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Well, my last question to you, Amber. This is a question I ask everyone. You're doing a great job, you and your husband, with your platform, Veteran Nomads. You have this new community now to just try and help people really see like the different ways in which you can live an RV lifestyle, and especially encouraging solo RVers or prospective solo RVers to jump into this lifestyle. And this is, you said that this was something that you didn't even consider a long time ago. Like you just knew that your life would involve some type of traveling, but you didn't consider RV life until you pursued your career as a truck driver. So here we are now. Like you're doing some really great things.
Thank you.
Really, yeah. I really enjoyed having you on here and really just sharing your story with us. What advice would you provide to the younger version of yourself that wasn't even, you knew you didn't want a house. You knew you did not want to buy a house, but
Mhm.
you knew that you wanted your life to involve some type of travel. You just did not know what that looked like in that moment. Like, what advice would you provide to that version of yourself?
Don't be afraid to live your authentic self the way you want to live. Don't try to fit into anyone else's box because, I did that for many years. Live just honestly just live for you in that moment and find someone that's willing to take that journey with you. It's nothing like having a supportive significant other that's like, yeah, he was on the fence about it, but having that significant other say, you know what, let's do this together. We're in this together. That's that's the most important thing to me. And even my kids, they're optimistic about it. And so just having that support from my closest family is very important to me. And so living for myself and living authentically for me is something I would definitely tell myself. Don't be afraid to be your authentic self and try things and just do it. That's anybody, just do it. Just if you all you have is your car, live in your car if you have to. If you want to try do the travel life, like I would have all these people that doing this car life and van life. Man, 15 years ago, if I would have known that's all it was, I would have done it. You know, it. I didn't know anything about it. So, just do it.
Love that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. And I really appreciate you. I look forward to seeing all the other great things that you have in store. Everyone I mentioned earlier, Amber's information is in the description of this episode. So check out the description, check out the many ways in which you can reach out to her, follow what she's doing, comment on her platform any questions that you may have. I mean, you can leave comments underneath the description of this episode too if you really enjoyed it. But I really encourage you to reach out to Amber and follow what she's doing as well. So, yeah, thank you so much for making
Thank
it
you.
to the end of this
Yes, it was so much
episode.
fun. So much
And
fun.
yeah, this was fun. This was fun. I love hearing from people I feature that they had a great time. So I mean that's what I strive to do and really just keep it as encouraging of a platform as possible because there are so many ways in which people can live the lifestyle that they want. They just may not know
Hmm.
what that look like yet. And so I just want this
Right.
platform to be like a plethora of options for people.
Well, thank you for having a platform for something like this because you're helping, different ways of living to be displayed, in a way it's a positive way and not just the negative. So I appreciate
Yeah.
you for shining a light on that and being a resource.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for your time and be on the lookout for new episodes of the Relocate Podcast. See y'all.
Bye.